it's Bunny, and welcome to today's video, and welcome to another WWE reaction. This video is recommended by Jeremy Thompson on my Patreon. Hi Jeremy, and thanks so much for being a part of my Patreon. And he said you should react to every WWE Divas Champions ranked from worst to best by Cultaholic Wrestling. I do love reacting to Cultaholic Wrestling. They have really awesome videos, and the fact that I'm gonna react to divas and female wrestlers, it's really amazing. I really want to catch up and keep up with the female side of the wrestling. Being female myself, it does inspire me definitely. So thank you Jeremy so much for recommending this video, and thank you for being a part of my Patreon. Guys, if you're interested in checking out my Patreon, you can always go to patreon.com/supportbunny. I did find the video exactly called every WWE Divas Champions ranked from worst to best, so let's go and watch it, shall we?
It's not uncommon nowadays for WWE's female performers to headline pay-per-views, compete in gimmick matches that were previously typically reserved for the menfolk like Hell in a Cell, and let's be honest, steal the show. It wasn't too terribly long ago, however, before Stephanie McMahon single-handedly spearheaded the women's revolution, that WWE's women were barely an afterthought. In fact, they weren't even called women or superstars. They were divas, and they, for a while, vied for the Divas Championship, a sparkly butterfly-shaped thing that looked like it came straight out of My Little Pony.
Like, yeah, this is not, I don't, like, it's good for kids. Yeah, definitely good for kids and teenagers, but strong women wearing this?
It wasn't a banner era for the so-called divas, but there were 17 Divas Champions in total between July 20th, 2008 and April 3rd, 2016, and their efforts ought to be appreciated, even if the powers that be themselves seldom did. I'm Adam Pacitti from Cultaholic Wrestling, and this is every WWE Divas Champion ranked from worst to best. Join us.
Yeah.
Number 17, Jillian Hall. Remembered for her massive facial growth and her milk-curdling pipes, Jillian Hall's Divas title reign was over before it even began. They say such and such had a cup of coffee with the belt, but Jillian didn't even really have that, unless you can down a piping hot cup of joe within 5 minutes. Hall bagged the strap on the October 12th, 2009 episode of Raw when she beat Mickie James. Unfortunately for her, Raw guest host Nancy O'Dell announced that she had made a trade with SmackDown, and that while Jillian would be staying on Raw, Melina was switching from the blue to the red brand. One very short impromptu match, if you can call it that, later, and Jillian, who wasn't really credible enough to hold the butterfly belt anyway, was a former champ. Number 16, Alicia Fox. One-time Divas champion Alicia Fox won the title almost 2 years to the date after debuting on WWE TV as Edge and Vicky Guerrero's wedding planner. She was never a critical superstar, but Fox was athletic and put the work in, striving hard to improve. Alicia snagged it in a Fatal 4-Way at the aptly titled Fatal 4-Way pay-per-view in 2010, pinning Maurice in a match that also featured Gail Kim and then champion Eve Torres. The results made her the first and only African-American to win the Divas title. As for how she fared as champ, Fox managed to hold on to it for 56 days, the second shortest reign outside of Jillian Hall's. She defended the title a couple of times against Eve on both Raw and at Money in the Bank, but dropped it to Melina fresh off a return from injury at SummerSlam. Alicia Fox versus Melina. Somewhere a young Cameron was watching and taking notes. Number 15, Brie Bella. Despite holding the title for a not-too-terrible 70 days, Brie Bella rarely defended her crown on television. A bit better. She activated Brie mode, whatever the hell that is, and downed Eve Torres to win it on the April 11th, 2011 episode of Raw, but mainly defended it on house shows, with her televised outings usually being tags with twin sister Nikki or otherwise non-title affairs. Her first televised defense was a successful one against Kelly Kelly at Over the Limit, but she lost it in her second one against the girl so nice they named her twice on the June 20th Raw. Not a great champion, but she was in possession of it for over 2 months and put it on the line on the road. Number 14, Natalya. One thing about Natalya is that above many of the other Divas champions, she had real pedigree and credibility. A member of the legendary Hart family, Natalya had already proven her in-ring chops in the 2.5 years that she had been on the main roster before bagging the gold, well, the sparkly silvery purple. The Queen of Hearts dethroned Michelle McCool in a handicap match at the 2010 Survivor Series, with Taker's gal teaming with Lay Cool partner Layla, who was unofficially reigning as Divas Champion alongside Michelle. Holding the title for 70 days, Natalya only defended it on TV a couple of times before dropping it to Eve Torres at the 2011 Royal Rumble in a four-way also featuring McCool and Layla. Number 13, Kelly Kelly.
So far, what we realized is 70 days is the longest that they're holding a title. 70 days, guys.
Transferred back to Raw in the 2011 supplemental draft, Kelly Kelly received a renewed push on the flagship show. She feuded with those dastardly Bellas while in pursuit of Brie's Divas title, failing to catch it at Over the Limit, but rebounding after being voted by fans to challenge again on the Power to the People episode of Raw on June 20th.
They want
the
Kelly
blonde
Kelly
bombshell, who was never one that was noted for her technical prowess between the ropes, did work hard to improve during her reign and was certainly popular. It helped that after beating Brie in their rematches, she moved into a lengthy program with the rock-solid Beth Phoenix. Kelly managed to overcome the Glamazon at both SummerSlam and Night of Champions, but her luck ran out at Hell in a Cell. She didn't manage to regain the title in subsequent rematches, but her lone 104-day run with it is nothing to sniff at. Number 12, Mickie James.
That's really good.
Mickie James is a legend in the business and has had great reigns as WWE Women's Champion, as well as being the Women's Champ of other companies, but her one Divas title reign doesn't quite measure up. Mickie won the title from Maurice at 2009's Night of Champions pay-per-view. She defended it a handful of times on Raw against Beth Phoenix and Alicia Fox, as well as against Fox at Hell in a Cell. To show you how low priority the title was at this point, Mickie wasn't on the SummerSlam card, but rather tossed in the dark match Battle Royal, which she didn't even win. James would lose the title to Jillian Hall for 5 minutes on her way to SmackDown. Oh well, greener pastures and all that. Oh wait, never mind.
What happened?
Number 11, Caitlyn.
That is a joke I don't get. Why there is a farm picture there? Did she have a reality farm show or something like that, like Paris Hilton?
From NXT Season 3, Caitlyn showed just how far she had come in a couple of short years when she won the Divas Championship on the 20th anniversary episode of Raw on January 14th, 2013. It was a nice hometown win for the Houston, Texas native and started her reign on the right foot. She then feuded with the likes of Tamina Snuka and Layla and even defended her title on NXT, the new version, against Natalya and AJ Lee. Caitlyn possessed a lot of positive qualities and developed into a solid worker in time. Emphasis on solid, by the way. You could grate cheese on those abs, couldn't you? She, along with AJ Lee, was one of the bright spots of what was, all things considered, a fairly weak and thus routinely overlooked division. She would lose the title to Lee, her former Chickbusters tag partner, at Payback after holding it for a respectable 153 days. Number 10, Layla.
That's
the
good.
winner of the 2006 Diva Search competition was really growing into her own as a performer as one half of Lay Cool when, just after the big split, she suffered a crushing knee injury that kept her out of action for almost a year. What a return she set herself up for, though, replacing the not medically cleared Beth Phoenix to challenge Nikki Bella for the Divas title at Extreme Rules 2012. The Basiling Brit won the title, pinning Brie Bella after an attempt at twin magic backfired. As was the norm during this era, defenses mainly took place on house shows, though Layla did manage to edge past Beth Phoenix at No Way Out before being upended by Eve Torres at Night of Champions. 140 days for the entertaining Layla as champion, but we rarely got to see her do anything with it when it counted. Number 9, Maurice. With two reigns
that's the thing, I don't know almost any of these. Like, I saw some pictures, some clips here and there, but before I even was into WWE, I would never have seen, like, I never saw any of these. I know AJ Lee, I know a couple of them, Becky, but like, really, not a lot.
261 days. The lovely Maurice is
Which
third.
is also, like, when you think about it, it's okay. Like, it's normal because I haven't even heard of many male wrestlers back in the day. But it does show you how underrated the female wrestlers division is in that wrestling entertainment.
when it comes to longest reigning Divas Champions. Originally a model hired mainly to provide eye candy, Maurice was another who was forced to adapt and contribute in new ways after the company went PG. The second Divas Champion, Maurice beat Michelle McCool to end the future Mrs. Undertaker's first reign on the December 26, 2008 episode of SmackDown, which emanated from Maurice's hometown of Montreal. Exuding charisma and a great natural heel, a bit like that Mike guy from the real world, Maurice may have not been the best around when it came to technique, but she did really well in this era of sub-5-minute scraps. In her first reign, she notched successful defenses against McCool, Kelly, and Gail Kim, and then did the honors for Mickie James at Night of Champions. She defeated Gail Kim in a tournament final to become champ for the second time on February 22nd, 2010, but only held it for 49 days before passing it on to Eve Torres.
Sounds
Number
like
8, Melina. The first two-time Divas Champion, both of Melina's reigns were fairly short, but certainly memorable for different reasons. After beating Jillian Hall to win her first, she held the title for 84 days and put it on the line against Jillian and Alicia Fox. She probably would have had a longer reign had she not suffered a torn ACL, which resulted in the championship being vacated. When she returned many months later, she naturally targeted regaining the butterfly belt, which she did against Alicia Fox at SummerSlam 2010. Once again, she racked up defenses against Hall and Fox before she lost the Divas/Women's title unification Lumberjill match with Michelle McCool at Night of Champions. An experienced and accomplished performer who knew what it took to carry a title with pride, Melina was as good a choice as any to wear the Purple Wonder. Number 7, Michelle McCool. In a bid to bring about parity with Raw, SmackDown General Manager Vicky Guerrero announced the Divas Championship for the Blue Brand's women to fight over. Michelle McCool and Natalya won a pair of Golden Dreams star on a pole matches in order to advance to the 2008 Great American Bash, where they fought for the right to become the inaugural Divas Champ. On the night, the All-American
Notice how like the posters are mostly males? Couldn't they like just combine them?
Diva would see off the Queen of Hearts, kicking off a 159-day reign. During that first reign, McCool defended the title against Maurice and Maria on TV before losing it to the sultry Diva on the last SmackDown of the year. It wouldn't be the last time she held it, however, as she had another 63-day reign between September and November 2010 after unifying the Divas title with the Women's Championship during a time where she would occasionally have Layla defend the strap in her place. LayCool were great value, and their antics sometimes overshadowed McCool's matches, but the former volleyball standout was good value when the bell rang. I'm
sorry, that picture of them together, this one here, reminded me again of Paris Hilton and Kim Kardashian back in the 90s. Oh my god.
Times overshadowed McCool's matches, but the former volleyball standout was good value when the bell rang. Number 6, Charlotte Flair. It's mad to think, considering the near monopoly she's had on the Raw and SmackDown women's titles in recent times, that Charlotte Flair has been around on main roster TV since the Divas title was in existence. In fact, the Queen was the last person to hold the Divas title before it was replaced by the Women's Championship ahead of Flair's bout with Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch at WrestleMania 32. Charlotte won the Divas title from Nikki Bella at Night of Champions 2015 and had solid defenses on pay-per-view against Lynch, Paige, and both Bellas. In contrast with just a year or two earlier, the women's revolution was in full flow, and rather than being given a token 5 minutes here and there, these feuds and matches were given time and thought. Crazy concept, I know. And Charlotte crucially
oh wow, you actually paid attention to the storyline and you paid attention to your female wrestlers. Oh, good morning! It's time!
Lights were on bright after graduating from NXT. Her Divas title reign was a sign of what was to come later, as you could see Flair improving week by week while holding the belt.
Man, even today when I saw glimpses and pieces of Flair against Rhea Ripley, I was like, what? Oh my god, she's so good.
Number 5, Paige. A two-time Divas champion for a combined 121 days, Paige was one of the first to really usher in a new era in women's wrestling for WWE. The Anti-Diva famously won the Butterfly belt in her main roster debut on the post-WrestleMania 30 episode of Raw. She beat AJ Lee in a short, impromptu match to win it, getting a huge reaction in the process, and then played hot potato with the belt with AJ over the summer and autumn.
Yeah, both
when
girls
Paige won it the
awesome.
first time, she became the youngest Divas champion champion in history at just 21. As well as her bouts with Lee, Paige also defended the title against Brie Bella, Tamina Snuka, Alicia Fox, and a pre-glow-up Naomi. It was Paige's rivalry in big stage matches with AJ that really defined her time as champ, the pair of them doing much to bring respectability back to a division that for so long had been presented as a joke. Number 4, Nikki Bella. Add Nikki Bella to the list of women who weren't necessarily hired for their grappling nous, but who grew in confidence and ability as far as their in-ring work went, thanks in large part to her 2 reigns as Divas Champion. Fierce Nikki held the title for a combined 307 days, first bagging it from Beth Phoenix in a Lumberjill match on the April 23rd, 2012 episode of Raw. She held onto it for a monumental 6 whole days before being surprised by Layla at Extreme Rules. Luckily for Nikki, her 301-day run with the glittery prize between November 2014 and September 2015 erased any disappointment she must have felt the first time round. After besting AJ Lee to win it back, she defended the championship against AJ in rematches, as well as against Naomi and Paige before new girl on the block Charlotte knocked her block off. Nikki had a presence and a charisma and really deserves more respect from fans who tend to write her off or deride her abilities because she has mainstream appeal and appeared on reality TV. Like Paige, she literally...
Wait! I need to see these reality shows. Total Bellas and Total Divas. Oh my god, this like Housewives or something.
TV. Like Paige, she literally broke her neck for the business and should be recognized for her in-ring contributions to WWE. Number 3, Eve Torres. Like many of the time, Eve Torres found herself in WWE via the Diva Search, which she won in 2007. A former dancer and model, Eve started off as a backstage interviewer, but began training in developmental territory OVW ahead of debuting as a full-time wrestler in 2009. She won her first Divas title by beating Maurice on the April 12, 2010 episode of Monday Night Raw. Though she only held it for 69 nice days initially, Torres would go on to reign as champion a further 2 times, making her a record-tying 3-time Divas Champion for a combined 261 days. The one thing that stuck out about Eve, outside of her heelish character work later on, was just how much she improved inside the ring over the course of her WWE career. She may not have had too many classics in the era of the 5-minute match, but she had some decent ones against Layla, Beth Phoenix, and Caitlyn. It's a shame she left when she did, really, because she was so close to fulfilling her full potential. Had she come along a few years later, you would have to think that she would be in the mix with Bianca, Banks, Becky, and company.
Oh my god.
As it is, she is one of the better female competitors of her era, and one of the best Divas champions WWE had. Number 2, Beth Phoenix. A former 3-time WWE Women's Champion, Beth Phoenix may have only held the Divas title once, but she did so with the class and consistency fans expected of the Glamazon. Phoenix won the title by beating Kelly Kelly at Hell in a Cell 2011, having previously failed to do so at SummerSlam and Night of Champions. Beth then defended the title against Eve Torres, Kelly Kelly, and Tamina Snuka on pay-per-view, having some pretty damn fine showings against less experienced opposition. Her reign was interrupted after she received a gnarly-looking black eye from Alicia Fox, and her booking was, at best, inconsistent. At one point, she didn't defend the title on television for over 2 months. But when Phoenix had to get the job done, she got it done, and even if WWE didn't care about the Divas division at the time, the WWE Hall of Famer made sure to make the most of what she was given. In total, she was in possession of the Divas title for 204 days, eventually losing it to Nikki Bella in a Lumberjill match. Subsequent attempts to wrest the belt away from Layla, who took Phoenix's place when she wasn't medically able to compete in her rematch, proved unsuccessful, and the Glamazon was glamour gone from WWE before the end of the year. Number 1, AJ Lee.
AJ Lee. Wait, is that number 1?
AJ Lee.
Again.
Proved unsuccessful, and the Glamazon was glamour gone from WWE before the end of the year. Number 1, AJ Lee. Though perhaps best remembered for her various romantic storylines and stint as Raw general manager, it should not be forgotten that AJ Lee was a damn fine Divas Champion.
Yeah.
The absolute best,
So
actually.
beautiful.
The three-time champion held on to the purple and silver for a record 406 days
Nice.
combined. The longest of that trio of reigns was the first, which began when AJ beat Caitlyn at Payback 2013.
That
Over
means
the
like you guys, she would have spent more than a year just defending the title and winning every match. That is, she had such popularity.
Ensuing 296 days, Lee defended the title on pay-per-view against Caitlyn, Brie Bella, Natalya, Naomi, and Cameron. Though this was the era of get in, get out, and don't get hurt as far as women's matches were concerned, AJ and Natalya had a cracking 15-minute encounter on the March 11th, 2014 episode of Main Events. Her and Paige played pass the parcel with the title over the summer as Lee won it a further 2 times before finally relinquishing it for good to Nikki Bella at Survivor Series. While reigning as champion, AJ Lee did much for the fighting females in the locker room and pushed for real change, as demonstrated during her infamous pipe bomb promo. And besides, she was
my god, I want to hear that.
coolest wrestler to rock Daisy Dukes this side of Ahmed Johnson.
And now she's the wife of CM Punk, right? And people are wondering, oh my god, my computer just moved. And people are wondering if she is gonna come back into WWE, which I would really like, because when I was younger, when I would see her like on posters or pictures or sometimes on TV, I would always be inspired by her, and I'd be like, when I grow up, I want to look like that. I have potential. I look a bit similar. I can do it. And she's as small as me. But yeah, those days are gone, brother. Other than that, she still inspires me to go to the gym and lift heavy. So yeah, that's still good. But that is it, guys, for this video. Unfortunately, I felt so clueless watching this video because I don't know anyone, almost anyone. I do recognize a couple of names here and there, but I didn't even know about this title, and it was a good video as an introduction to some of them. I cannot say 100% that I remember every single name and every single person mentioned, but hopefully in the future, if I watch more and if I go through like documentaries and history about some of these female wrestlers that are legendary and people know about, I will learn much more about them, and I'm looking forward to that. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more, and see you tomorrow with a brand new video. Bye. Have a wonderful day.
You are a summer and after